I feel numbness, pain, and emptiness. Others go to sleep and have nightmares, but I wake up to one on a daily basis. A light really went out in my life 3 years ago when my husband was arrested and held without charges. But deep down, there is a strong determination and a knowledge in the darkest moments of our despair that this cannot go on. They have to release him. Repealing emergency rule would go some way in demonstrating that the war is over and that it is time for reconciliation. Not only for my husband's case, but for the thousands of others who are detained under the same draconian laws that are seemingly boundless.
Sri Lanka has been under a state of emergency almost continually since 1971. Successive governments have used national security as an excuse to introduce a range of broad and often confusing emergency regulations. This has led to serious erosion and suspension of people's rights to freedom of thought, conscience, and expression, as well as their right to live free from arbitrary arrest and detention. On 6 March 2008, the Terrorist Investigation Division arrested Vettivel Jasikaran under the emergency regulations on suspension of terrorism-related activities. His wife Valarmathi Jasikaran was arrested as an accessory. Vettivel Jasikaran is a writer, publisher, and manager of the news website Outreach Sri Lanka, and also of the magazine North Eastern Monthly. On 8 June 2008, the Jasikarans filed a fundamental rights case at the Supreme Court, stating that their arrest and detention was illegal and that Vettivel had been tortured in Terrorist Investigation Division custody. On 30th June, the Ministry of Defence extended their detention. After almost 6 months of being detained without charge, Vettivel Jasikaran was indicted on 27th August 2008 for inciting communal disharmony by printing, publishing and distributing North Eastern Monthly. Valarmathi was charged with aiding and abetting her husband. On 26 October 2009, 16 months after their trial began, the Supreme Court acquitted them of all charges. On 29th January 2010, officers of the Criminal Investigation Department broke into the premises of the Lanka Irida newspaper and arrested its chief editor, Chandana Sirimalwatte. They forced him to hand over files that contained sensitive information. The newspaper is allied with the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, a left-wing political party which campaigned for opposition candidate Sarath Fonseca in the recent presidential elections. Lanka Irida had previously been raided in September and in October 2009 after publishing stories critical of the Rajpaksha family. Amnesty International was informed that Criminal Investigation Department officers also attempted to search Chandana Sirimalwatte's home, but his wife refused them entry because they failed to produce a valid search warrant. Criminal Investigation Department officers raided the Lanka Irida office again on the morning of 30th January, sealing off the premises and questioning staff members extensively. Chandana Sirimalwatte was detained in Criminal Investigation Department custody for 3 weeks before a Colombo court ordered his release in February, citing lack of evidence. This court order came after substantial international campaigning on Chandana Sirimalwatte's behalf, and immediately after President Rajapaksa reportedly instructed the Criminal Investigation Department to assist in his release. While Sirimalwatte's release was welcome, the executive interference in the case is troubling.
Thousands of people are languishing in jails or lockups across the country in Sri Lanka, being held without charges or even the possibility of facing a trial. In July 2010, Amnesty had the opportunity to interview a number of detainees in Wellikada prison in Colombo and Batticaloa jail. Some of these prisoners, who have been arrested under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, have been detained for many years, with many people unable to have any legal assistance, and many of them have simply been waiting for a trial.
I would like to see the Prevention of Terrorism Act and the emergency regulations are scrapped from the books, and any law must be inconsistent with the international human rights standards. Then I'd like to see the Constitutional Council and the independent commissions are back in full force.
Amnesty International is calling on the government to revise or repeal the Prevention of Terrorism Act and either charge detainees with a recognisable criminal offence or release them.